What's good, everyone? It's Coach Abrish here again, and today I'm gonna prove the impossible that you can and will stay and get in shape while eating out more than 5 times a week. So, for those who don't know me yet, I'm Abrish Bobits, owner of Mythical Gains, and I help business owners and high-level executives add at least 40% to their business output by losing 30 pounds of body fat and adding at least 8 pounds of lean muscle in less than 2 to 3 hours per week, or without having to say no to your favorite foods or a nice dinner with your business partners, with your sales team, or your clients. So, because I get these excuses very often that, oh, I'm eating out often, I'm having these business meetings, I'm having these wine dates to attend, or whatever. But to be honest, it doesn't, or at least it shouldn't influence your fitness progress and your health in any possible way if you know the correct principles and if you follow this guide. So let's get straight into it and let's explore what are the different steps that you can make your restaurant journeys or all your dinners or your business lunches high protein and health friendly experience. So first of all, I'm going to talk about how to prioritize these animal-based high-protein options, the 80-20 principle, how it works in the culinary world, because of course, as a business owner, you probably heard about the 80-20 before, but in the context of nutrition, it works just a little bit differently, but anyway, it's similar. And of course, we will talk about why do we go to restaurants, what do we do there, and why having fun when talking about food is very important. It's not just optional because you want to sustain your diet in the long term. And we will talk a little bit about how to be still efficient with your time and just overall building a sustainable system for your health which holds this all together, because without that you can go through this guide, you can copy paste everything into your life, but without having the sustainable system it will be very difficult to hold this together and to keep yourself to these, by the way, very simple steps over here. So just a few words about why are we going for high protein animal based options. So first of all, high protein, because the more protein you eat, actually the easier it is to stay in shape. It's not rocket science. So what you need to understand is protein is the fuel of your muscles, but beyond that, it's very good for your metabolism. So the more lean muscle you sustain on your body, the more calories you burn throughout the day. So you can eat more. Eat more, meanwhile losing more weight. I think that's absolutely win-win situation. So good for the salesman, good for the prospect. So what are we talking about, right? But why animal-based? So just a little bit of details behind that. So animal-based proteins actually get synthesized, absorbed into your muscles because they contain a full amino acid profile. That's not the most important nitty-gritty detail, but it's good to know that animal-based proteins are so-called whole proteins, so they actually get absorbed and they contain, most of them, especially the leaner cuts like tenderloin, sirloin, tip side, top sirloin, chicken breast, whatever. They are lean, so they contain relatively low amount of calories compared to the amount of protein that they contain. So another win-win for you. So that's why we are going for animal proteins, because when you have a very demanding schedule full of meetings, calls, family events, presentations, your own workouts, business events, and so on and so on, and you don't really have time for cooking for yourself, okay, you can still get the nutrients in, both the macro, so the protein, and the micronutrients in, like iron, zinc, vitamin B, all to strengthen your immune system, all to increase your testosterone, and so on. So all the health benefits, you can get it from food that you eat in restaurants. So just picture this. You're going to a business dinner, and you're just going through the menu, what you can order. And you are trying to assemble a plate for yourself, which is aligning with your health goals, right? You want to lose weight, you want to build muscle, you want to stay more energetic, so you want to avoid junk food. Okay, you're right, but how you will do that? So I would say always focus on having your plate, having 50 or 60%, 50 to 60% of your plate consisting of protein, right? And why? Because it keeps you satiated. So when you feel like you're full, it's probably because you've eaten enough protein and high volume carbs. High volume carbs means that the given source of carbohydrates are large compared to the amount of calories that they contain. So how I would imagine in your case is that you order a piece of meat, probably preferably a lean cut, just like the ones I mentioned before, but by the way, it can be any cut of meat, fish, it can be some kind of eggs, dairy products, and so on and so on, with something higher volume carb source on the side. So let's say potatoes, sweet potatoes, or any vegetables of your choice. So you don't have to be too restrictive with yourself. You don't have to sit in the corner and count calories and so on, because first, you don't have time for that. Number two, nobody likes to have lunch with a person who just counts calories, right? It's weird. It's very weird. So, but yeah, you may have a valid concern over here that, okay, but what if they do the fries in seed oils? Who cares? You will play your seed oil sensitivity card. Feel free to copy paste this one over here so you can show it to the owner of the restaurant or to the waiter or the chef or whoever is accessible that, okay, you are allergic to certain types of vegetable oils. Please, can you do it in butter or beef tallow, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, ghee, or whatever. So it is just your safety seed oil card. But by the way, you can see a picture over here that this is how a proper meal should look like. Should this be your exact meal that you pick in the restaurant? No, there are hundreds of options. You can have, salmon with tomato salad with cottage cheese or whatever. So feel free to pick whatever you want from the menu. Just make sure that 50% of your plate at least is consisting of protein and the rest is these kinds of high volume carbs. Um, if you want to lose weight and you want to lose weight fast, meanwhile still going out several times per week. Okay, so this is another example of a plate. So as I mentioned before, salmon with tomatoes, a couple of radishes, and so on, a couple of dairy on the side. So nothing to worry about. Okay, but let's see the 80-20 principle. What does that mean? Very simple. 80% clean, 20% indulgence. That's it. So nothing very serious about it. 80% of the time you will be eating clean, according to the guidelines I mentioned before, but 20% of the time, just let loose. Like, don't be the nerd who, sits in the corner, says, oh, it's not in my caloric limits, or oh, it's too much carbs. I don't know, I'm fasting, I'm in my fasting window. Don't do that. Don't do that because it ruins your image. It decreases the respect of your team, whatever. You will be the weirdo over there, and these methods don't work as much as they are being advertised, right? So feel free to let loose 20% of the time and eat clean 80% of the time. So if you already know you're on a business dinner or an official event, you've already eaten your proteins, you still crave for something sweet, you see there a juicy slice of tiramisu, go for it, man. So as long as you have already filled yourself with protein, so you are not that hungry, you are just craving for some variety, you're craving for some sweets, go for it. 20% of the time you're allowed to do that. It won't influence your weight loss progress in any possible way if you keep the rules that I mentioned before about high protein and high volume carbs. So yeah, the next step we are going for is just having fun. As I mentioned before, don't be a dork, don't be a nerd who counts calories or says, oh, I still have 3 hours until my next eating window or whatever. So winners don't like say shit like that, right? So don't be that guy. And don't be that guy who completely refuses alcohol in these occasions, because let's consider the reality. This is a culture drug, so that means that everybody in a wide circle takes it. So if you are offered, you don't have to necessarily refuse it and ruin the fun. Feel free to go for options like dry red wine, like my personal favorite, Cabernet Sauvignon. If we have any French listeners, hopefully I pronounce it right. So the thing is, when you have these options which don't really ruin your body composition, so I would say I would advise personally against beer, but feel free to drink or eat anything that you would like to. But yeah, there are these options like dry red wines, even some dry white wines that you can go for. So always focus on portion control. And it's not about getting shit faced, but you already know that you have to maintain your status. You have to engage in meaningful conversations. So I would say just be part of the fun and feel free to drink a little bit, and don't be the nerd who says that, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm on a diet, and so on and so on. Show them that you can still be shredded, high energy, with a six pack in a cool suit that is tight around your arms and your back, and still having fun. You can still have fun that way. Be a guy who shreds himself meanwhile having fun and chilling. So that gains much more respect than just restricting yourself and then gaining the weight back. So what I really noticed about entrepreneurs who come to work with me, that they have tried something very restrictive before. You probably also tried keto, paleo, carnivore, veganism, whatever, but you just felt like all the weight that you have lost or all the progress that you have made just disappeared, right? And all the weight that you have lost just came back and you couldn't keep it off. It's because you restricted yourself. When you restrict yourself too much, then you tend to be more emotional when it comes to eating, stress eating, stress snacking, um, and then you will indulge more. So if you have a planned indulgence, let's say 1-2 cheat meals per week, you are sticking to your so-called clean diet much more likely than with full restriction, reverse dieting, keto, paleo, and so on and so on. And let's talk a little bit about time efficiency, because I'm pretty sure you're no stranger to packed schedules. So you are always juggling meetings, projects, networking events, sales calls, client calls, and so on and so on. So yeah, the first step would be to be as time efficient with your eating choices when you eat out as possible, is to familiarize yourself with the restaurants in your area and identify the ones that offer healthier options. So if you've got no time for that, just outsource it to your assistant or whoever you can, just to scan down the locations in your area or in the area you're about to travel to, and and to take a look at their menus and pick the high protein options, and just generally the healthier options. Because if you have this list hands on, it has such an incredible ROI, because when you arrive to the location, you already know what options can you pick from, and you don't have to browse the menu for 10, 20, 30 minutes and then wait another 30 minutes then until it arrives. So you don't have to do that. You will have a hands-on list for yourself, and you know what options to go for. You don't have to count calories or worry about your fasting schedule or whatever. The next step would be is just to be brave enough, as you are on a sales call, for example, to customize your order, to ask the staff to, let's say, double the portion of meat, or to leave out the seed oils, or swap the fries to from cooked in seed oils to tallow, or swap the fries to, let's say, sweet potato fries or a salad or whatever. So don't be afraid of asking the staff, because it's their it's in their favor, it's in their final aim and goals to make you as the customer satisfied. So use your privilege and turn it to your advantage, right? And finally, you can also consider in the end meal prepping, of course, for those days when you really say, so if you're really stubborn and you say, no, 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 I don't want to eat in a restaurant, yeah, I will just skip the meal and so on and so on. Okay, then you can meal prep. Um, Honestly, I'd say if you do it as efficient as possible, you can just use a 60-minute session every weekend where you prep in advance, you get your food in, and you just miss out on the fun. But yeah, I personally wouldn't recommend it, and we don't do it with my clients. So I say this as your last resort, right? If you really don't want to participate in the eating part of such an event, right? So another very time efficient way is just outsourcing your meal preps to your wife, your girlfriend, a private chef, or my personal favorite, Hot Latina. Highly recommended to all of you guys. Of course, not if you already have a wife. So, what really matters is that by incorporating these time saving strategies, you will be already very well equipped to make reasonable and smart decisions on your next trip to a restaurant, your next business meeting, next business dinner. So definitely consider these and consider the Latina as well if you're single. But yeah, now we are almost complete with the equation, but one thing I mentioned at the beginning is still missing from it, and this is building a sustainable system for your health. Because, of course, you won't suddenly lose 1 to 2 pounds per week if you are not having other parts of the system together. So yeah, you can go for high protein options in a restaurant. You can keep all of these rules. You can have some fun and so on and so on. But if you don't have the other parts of the equation, all together as a sustainable system that you actually enjoy, then the progress won't come as fast as you would expect it. So let's talk about how you can put together a system for yourself, or how you can copy this system over here to take advantage of it and use it to optimize your health, to double your energy levels, and to keep adding to your work capacity and business output. Because ultimately, a healthy entrepreneur is a wealthy entrepreneur. So what I want you to do is to realize that to maintain peak performance, you must establish this system for yourself, which supports your well-being and is easily integratable into your lifestyle. So you can maintain it even in your high seasons, even in your busiest periods, because only those habits stick with you, which you can keep even when you are at your busiest. Because in easy periods, in easy times, it's not that difficult to take up new habits, right? But when you're really packed with responsibilities, those habits which stay around in these times are the ones that will stick forever with you. And if you manage to build this kind of good and healthy habits, it will last for a lifetime for you. So first of all, you have to set realistic goals. And let's say when it comes to weight loss, it should be about 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight per week. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that would mean that you can aim for losing 1 to 2 pounds per week. Of course, it never will be linear, but that would be the approximate amounts that you can aim for. And instead of striving for always perfection, eating 100% clean, you should focus on the progress and small improvements over time. So it's not about being at your 100% best when it comes to eating, when it comes to training, but consistently holding out an 80% performance in all regards. And next one, of course, is that you have to make healthy eating a priority, but not in a way that you are counting calories, you're religiously counting macros, or you are keeping a very strict eating window, because with the variability of your schedule, that's not possible. That's not possible to just say that, okay, in these 8 hours, I'm gonna eat 3 meals or whatever, or I'm gonna eat approximately 2300 calories today, and out of that 200 grams, so 800 calories will be carb, and so on and so on. So it's too complicated for you, and you're just wasting your time by doing this, right? So instead of focusing on these calories, macros, eating windows, and so on, just focus on your healthy eating habits. High protein nutrition, high volume carbs, so their volume, their size is high compared to the amount of calories that they contain. And of course, always going for those nutritious options that fill you up, that satiate you, and you don't feel hungry afterwards. Because After all, weight loss is nothing but hunger management. You have to be able to burn fat and lose weight in a way that you are never feeling hungry. And if you are fasting, if you are counting calories, if you are too much restricting yourself, then you will end up being hungry, and your motivation plummets, your hormones don't work in a way they are supposed to be. So I don't actually recommend being hungry on a diet, because then it will work less. So this is about nutrition habits. Next one, what I would recommend is just to hit the gym like 2 to 3 times per week. And the most common split for really high performing entrepreneurs with very limited, less than 2 or 3 hours per week, the most suitable split for you would be an upper lower push pull or full body split. So either 2 times a week or 3 times a week. So you could do day A upper body, day B lower body, just a quick 30-40 minute pump, and then you leave the gym, you're in and out, goodbye. The same could be like a push-pull or push-pull leg split, so 2 or 3 days, or just 2 full body sessions per week, and that's it. You can make impressive progress just like my client did. So you don't have to worry about, okay, am I hitting enough volume? Yes, you are hitting enough volume, and intensity matters more than volume. So you're not a bodybuilder, you're not a power lifter. You don't have to follow pro athlete's routine. You're not the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you can still build an impressive physique, which of course commands respect and increases your own self-confidence. So all you need for that is a plan that works for you. That's simple. So instead of copying other one's plans, or just like buying these cookie cutter V shape abs, whatever fitness programs, no, try to find something which works the best for you. And if you don't want to spend years finding that something which works the best for you, then just hire a coach. It's that simple, who can figure it out for you and has committed those mistakes before and has helped people with similar results and similar situations to yours. So it's really, really simple. Just keep a very, I would say, simple split, just like the ones I mentioned over here. And you don't have to overcomplicate your training or go to the gym more than like 4, 5, 6 times a week, doing a bro split like biceps, back, chest, triceps, and so on and so on. You're not a bodybuilder, as I said again, and you don't have to be. You don't have to live like a bodybuilder to have an impressive physique, right? The next one, and I would say the most, if not the one of the most, but if not the most important from all of these, is rest, recovery, and sleep. So you really need to prioritize this, and remember that it's not about the amount of hours that you sleep, but the quality of your sleep. So I've had a client who started out with a very, very poor sleep quality. He slept 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours every night. And for example, one of his most important sleep phases, the deep sleep, that was only 20 minutes. So we 6x that to almost 2 hours. And when that changed, everything changed in his business as well, and his daytime sharpness, productivity. And the funny thing is that he never slept afterwards more than 7.5 or 8 hours per night. So the lesson is that a deep and efficient 7 hours is much better than a shallow 9 or 10 hours. That's something that you really have to remember. That's why you should be very careful about your sleep. And if you got all of these figured out, the training part, the nutrition part, and the sleep part, you are unstoppable. So that's the sustainable system of your health, and that's how you can achieve it by simple habits without having to change too much on your lifestyle, without having to change your business strategy, without having to tune down on your family and relationships. So you don't have to change anything. You just have to take the system, copy paste it into your lifestyle, and you are all set. You have to remember that the perfect plan doesn't exist. but the best plan does. And the best plan is always the one that you can sustain during your busiest periods, as I mentioned before. So it's that simple. And I know that by copying this, you will be able to be successful on your own, but I know that it can be quite difficult, right? So implementing these and keeping yourself accountable and designing the plan that works for you, getting to know your body, and so on and so on, after years of trials and errors, or after years of not eating the right way, always focusing on junk food, or being too hyper anxious about your health. That's not good either. So if you have already committed these mistakes, I know that it's not easy to just copy paste the system and use it for your lifestyle without any kind of like external assistance, right? So that's why I've worked with a couple of guys who exactly felt like you are feeling right now. For example, Hunter, who in a brief 3 months gained 15 pounds of lean mass while decreasing his body fat percentage by 5%, meanwhile building a bulletproof system for his health. So what he did was very simple. He kept on drinking alcohol because there were certain types of drinks he really liked. It doesn't matter what type, but he liked it. But he still managed to get leaner, grow his muscles. Meanwhile, having a little daughter, a wife, and business to take care of, you can see the vein on his biceps, see how strong he got. So absolutely no excuses. It's all about the lifestyle that you're living and how you're implementing these sustainable habits. Or the way my startup founder client did, Phyllis, who in 6 months lost 34 pounds of fat, built 10 pounds of lean muscle, and got rid of his beer belly and man boobs while drinking beer. So this is a German gentleman, and Germans like beer. And I didn't tell him to completely cut out beer. I was like, don't quit, replace 80% of the time. So 80% of the time he kept himself away from beer and just drank regular water. But 20% of the time he drank his favorite types of beer, and he still managed to lose fat because he always did that after completing his daily protein intake. He felt full, he didn't feel hungry, and at the end of the week he was like, okay, let's have a little bit of fun. And what we did wasn't complete restriction. So until the day he always like pre-scheduled his times for indulgence. So what we did was, until the day he indulged, he did something for his health every single day. So it was either going to the gym, training at the local street workout park, or just doing 20-30 minute walks. So every day he did some physical activity, and he ate clean while still eating his favorite foods. So he ate high protein, and so every day he did that until the day of indulgence. Why? Because he chose delayed gratification. As an entrepreneur, you definitely know that the fruits that you are working for today won't fall in your hands today. It may be next year or 2 years later, and so on and so on. So you are delaying gratification, and this is exactly what Silas did. That, okay, every day I'm gonna do something for my body, and Saturday I'm just gonna drink a couple of beers, and it worked perfectly for him, and he managed to see his abs for the first time in his life. And that's a big thing for someone who have had a beer belly for such a long period of time. And the next one, Benjamin, who also got rid of his bad habits and lost 60 pounds. And we've been working together for 18 months. So in the first 5 months, he lost 60 pounds, and then he packed on lots of muscle, tripled his strength, and right now he's preparing for his first bodybuilding show. But here's the thing, guys. You don't have to be obsessed with bodybuilding or powerlifting to achieve results like these. None of these guys train more than 2 to 3 hours per week. Or, for example, you can look at all the guys who I've helped to transform and to scale their business through the power of their energy and health. And None of them had to spend too much time, more than 2 to 3 hours, or live like a bodybuilder or powerlifter. It's all about these simple and sustainable habits that once you implement into your lifestyle, you are unstoppable, and you definitely can lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. If you are if you're going a bit more extreme, you can even lose up to 10 pounds per month. Absolutely possible, as it was possible in the case of Benjamin as well. So the only limitation exists in your brain. It exists entirely in your mind that, oh, I can't stay in shape because I have to travel. I'm going on business trips. I'm going on all these, I'm attending business dinners and so on. Um, just forget about these, because if you keep these simple rules, if you keep the high protein rule, the 80-20, the time efficiency, and you learn how to have fun in the meantime, it won't ruin your physique. It will just build it up, because once you are in a good mood, once you manage to reduce your stress about these things, everything works so much better, because your habits are sustainable and you can also sustain this healthy lifestyle. Meanwhile, you are having or experiencing your high seasons. So it's that simple. But I know that no matter how simple it sounds, um, just implementing all of these into your lifestyle might not be easy at first. So if you feel like you're ready to add at least 40% to your business output by optimizing your sleep and recovery, and at this point you don't really know how to, or you know how to, but you want help and external accountability with that, also with handling and absolutely killing your stress levels, getting twice as much work done in 50% less time, so increasing your efficiency and productivity, and just bridging the gap between where you are today, how you feel about your physique today, how you feel about your health, how do you think about your longevity, and where you want to be in 3 to 6 months later. And also, if you want to have once again those concrete crushing testosterone levels when you were a teenager, then I think it's a no-brainer at this point that you and I will make a great team. So feel free to click here and book a free call with me, or if you have any questions or concerns about it, just feel free to write me a DM on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find me there. So thanks for watching, guys, and have an amazing day.